Ladies and gentlemen, football fans of North Central Ohio, you are now entering the Friday Night Pigskin. So get strapped in, lay some tide and get right for big hits, top plays, and highlights. All coming your way from under the Friday night lights. The most exciting sounds and sights, gridiron action to serve your viewing delights. Let's go. Friday night lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hyped, here we go now. Friday night lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hyped, here we go now. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown! Throws it over the middle and he gets absolutely sauced. Friday night lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hyped, here we go now.
Bogner again in motion. Phillips steps up, looking to throw, rolls out to the left, throws it, it slips up and it's intercepted.
Oh my goodness.
Running down the right sideline is Trey Skaggs and into the end zone. Trey Skaggs picks it off, takes it to the house.
A not so happy memory if you're a fan of Buckeye Central, but the Eagles are still undefeated. We're going to show you all the highlights from that game in New Washington tonight, as well as all of the other moving pictures that we have for the 5-0 teams. I am Brian Skowronski, and can you believe that it's already week 5? Half of the season is already behind us as we say goodbye now to summer and we welcome in fall officially. So football season, it is here, baby, and it is bringing a lot of great outcomes here tonight as I'm looking up and down some of the wins for our local teams and some head-to-head battles, some defensive struggles, and maybe a couple of upsets as well. But I mentioned that it's week 5, so let's talk about the teams that have 5 wins, and the Hillsdale Falcons are one of those teams. They had to go on the road tonight against a team that has traditionally had a lot of success against them in the Downton Bulldogs in a big WCAL clash. Here's how the Falcons got the victory and continued their undefeated season. We'll start things off here. Falcons setting the tone early. This is Kel Lewis. He's going to find his little bro. That's Knox Lewis. He's into the end zone, and it is a 7-0 lead here for the Falcons. Downton slowly marched down the field, but they would come up short, and now here's Lewis to Lewis again. The bros connect for a 14-zip advantage. Dogs turn it over on their ensuing possession in the red zone, and that leads to this. Owen Sloan busting out of the pack. Monster 79-yard run. That really just flipped the game on its head after that stop in the red zone. So it's 21-0 at the break. Coming out of the halftime as well, Sloan continuing right where he left off. His second touchdown run of the night would give the Falcons a 4-score lead. This is always a tight game down to the wire. Very next drive, it's the third Kel Lewis touchdown, getting the job done through the air, except this time on the ground as he scores with a QB keeper. But unfortunately for Falcons fans, they would not keep a shutout in this game. It was 35-0. Now it's 35-6 as Connor Morey gets into the end zone, but the Falcons get it done on the road as they move now to 5-0. Smithville as well got the victory tonight. They are also undefeated at 5-0, and that makes a huge Week 6 matchup that you can watch live and free right here on the OH Report coming up next week with Travis Berardi on the call. That's going to be a huge one. Big-time WCAL implications, and that league is just going to be a ton of fun. You see Rittman's off to a great start as well, and obviously Norway in that game looming at the end of the season, Week 10 for the Falcons. It determines the winner of the league last year. We'll see if that is the case here in 2025. And since we're talking about some Ashland County football, let's welcome in the Ashland source. That's right, Doug Haydett here on the call with me. And Doug, give me your quick thoughts on Hillsdale doing what they did tonight against Downton and the way that they looked, only allowing 6 points, and they put up another 30-burger. Doug is typing away. He's putting together his article for tonight. Probably not paying attention to me. Well, we'll come back to Doug. He checked out the Ashland game tonight, and Ashland as well is 5-0. But speaking of undefeated teams, we had 2 in the K-MAC to start the night. We've only got 1 now, and I would not be doing it service if I did the highlights. So I'm going to toss it over to K-MAC corner. That's right. Travis Big League Berardi here in the house. The game of the night, baby. Yep. On paper, didn't turn out that way on the scoreboard.
I mean, we talked to Scott Spittler last week. He said this game's going to be over by 7:35. It was not the case because there were a lot of scores on one side. Mike Reid's Mount Gilead Indians just put on an absolute show for the folks down in Mount Gilead, and let's get right into the highlights. First off, handoff to Barnum, the bowling ball, 7-0. Well, actually 6-0. Missed the 2-point conversion right there. Fredericktown, though, on the way back at you. Gavin Toombs, 31-yard touchdown reception, gets through 2 defenders. From Blake Sipes, it is 7-6 Fredericktown. We got ourselves a game, but maybe not. Second quarter action now. Tyler Haar, 26 yards off the left side, untouched. Ain't no one going to get him. Well, maybe touched a little bit, but into the end zone. It is 14-7. Later in the second, big play from Jacob Wilt coming up. Oh, you got to give it's youth night. You got to give the youth a little celebration here as well. Youth night, the 2025 Unstoppables were in attendance. What else was unstoppable? This run by Jacob Wilt. 64 yards, made it 21-7. And now Mount Gilead into the youth student section again. Now some defense by Mount Gilead. Cooper Nelson. Look what I got. Strip 6, 49 yards. Mount Gilead putting it on now. 28-7. And Jacob Wilt, celebrate. Turn the lights on and off. Do everything in Mount Gilead because you guys are rolling at the moment. Jacob Wilt then 37 yards. Pretty much the same thing from 2 plays back. Nearly untouched. Tackled into the end zone. Rolling once again are the Indians. There's the lights. Got to get the lights going off. And then Barnum, the bowling ball, the leading rusher in the area from 3 yards out. That'll make it 41-7. Jacob, we talk about Barnum being the leading rusher, but he's got a good 1-2 punch with Jacob Wilt. 2 touchdowns, 132 yards. Came in with 129 all-season skis, so he matched his season output through 4 games in 1 night with 132. But that just makes the Mount Gilead Indians so lethal. And one of the main reasons they are so lethal is their head coach, Mike Reid. Second time here on the Pigskin, but we had to bring him back because I think for the first time ever, Mount Gilead is 5-0. So if we can, welcome in the head coach of the Indians, Mike Reid. Coach, congratulations, man. 5-0. How does it feel?
It feels great. Obviously, very proud of the boys, and it just feels really good.
I was listening to the post game on the radio on my way back. You guys, it was close, but a defensive interception you guys had. We talk about the offense all the time. You had some big defensive plays here early on, and that kind of changed the tides in your favor.
100%. Coach already does a great job getting our defense ready every week, and Fredericktown was moving the ball early on their first drive, and Gage Shipman set on a screen for us and intercepted the thing and ran it back 20-some yards. Offense got the ball around the 50, and Arna finished up the drive forward. And for Nelson's strip and score in the last touchdown on the board on the fours. That's huge, too. The defense made some big plays.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about Carson Barnum. He is our #1 rusher in the area, which is that's got to be a great testament not only to his just stamina, getting 30-plus carries a game and getting that, but your offensive line as well. I mean, we always talk about the guys that score the touchdowns, but let's talk about the big uglies up front too. You guys are huge up front on both sides of the ball, but just what's in the water down there at Mount Gilead that you got such big linemen for this team?
I guess moms and dads are feeding them well, but A lot of credit to our winter and spring lifting program as well. Not only are they big, they're pretty strong. And Barnum and Wilt and Hart, all of our running backs will tell you that everything starts up front, and they appreciate those big guys. Some of the same guys that play on the defense as well. So our game's up front this year for sure.
Just talk about the play of Jacob Wilt. I said a little bit ago he came in with 129 yards all season. He matches that and more. 132 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's got to be important too, because Carson can get a couple plays off and you still have that big play candidate at running back.
Absolutely. We're trying to develop more and more players, and Jacob's waited his turn, and he got inserted into the lineup tonight. He made a his chances. Got some great, and he read his blocks real well, was really patient, followed him, made the right cuts, made the right reads, and very proud of him.
And I mean, a couple of those highlights had touchdowns ending in the end zone with the youth squad. The Unstoppables youth football were in attendance. Just, what does that say, having a team that's winning like this, showing it to these young kids that could be the future of Mount Gilead? That's just got to be an all-around great feeling from these young players up into your varsity squad.
It's a great, huge for sure. And when we're trying to build a program, we want to bring those young kids in, and we want to show them a good night and treat them to some pregame festivities and keep them on the sidelines or the end zone there. And it's even better when we win like that. So it gets those young kids excited, and we want to build the program all the way through. And the Unstoppables folks, we've talked before about that as one of my most favorite things that we do here at Mount Gilead. Is the Unstoppables camp. The Unstoppables are a great group of friends that we encountered 3 years ago, and we have that camp every year, and glad to have them on hand. One of the Unstoppables led us on the field tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, just starting off 5-0, I have to ask, I don't know if we even know, is this the first time Mount Gilead's ever started 5-0? I mean, you had some great teams back in the past. We call this the Bears Den now in Mount Gilead for the coach that, over 200 wins, got your team state ranked and things like that. But did he ever start off 5-0?
I think if he did, his team was probably goes back to 1969. I think they might have started off 5 or 6-0.
But that's just got to be great that you guys are 5-0. I mean, that was the last time with the Bear. You guys were state ranked, things like that. Now, I mean, with a blowout like this on another 4-0 squad, I mean, people around the state got to start noticing you guys. You're 2-0 in conference. You guys just got to focus on what's ahead. I mean, Centerburg is going to be coming up, Northmor as well. But just what do you need to do to keep your guys focused at the task at hand and not overlook for some of these bigger games?
That's a great question. We got Andy Beatty's East Knox Club coming in here next week, and Andy's a tremendous guy, and he has his kids well prepared, and he's got some weapons there too. And I think he does a really good job of keeping it when it comes to, and we keep doing what we've been doing, and that's getting better every single day.
And lastly, before I let you go, is Jack Balt still wandering around the field celebrating this? Because I heard he was as fired up as everybody else down there in Indian country.
Jack does get pretty fired up, and sometimes he leaves the door because it's really good for whenever maybe people paying attention to the program.
All right, well, Coach, I'm going to let you go celebrate for a little bit. Maybe stop by the end zone, have yourself a burger or something before you finish things off. But congratulations, man. We can't be happier for you guys starting off 5-0 and, back to work after that. And best of luck this upcoming week when you get another big matchup.
Thank you very much.
That's head coach Mike Reid. And Ski, I mean, great things should come to great people. Mike Reid is one of the best that we have around here in the area, not as just coaching-wise, but, mentoring these young athletes. And to see them 5-0 is just, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and especially in the K-MAC League, they have not been really competitive in the last several years since Mike Reid has been there. And we felt like they were on the cusp a season ago. So to break through this year and to have all the mean dudes up front, that's what I love so much about this team. They're physical, man. They're just playing a brand of football that is K-Mac version in style. We're accustomed to seeing this from teams like Danville and then Fredericktown in the past. But now that Mount Gilead is doing it, that's what wins in this conference, and really cool to see them off to a nice start. And also, when you start getting the youth programs involved and you've got some of the littles that are coming out and they're supporting you in your corner, that's when you can really take off. And it looks like they got the whole thing going on right now down there on the reservation.
Yeah, and I mean, we are at the halfway point, so we can start talking about the P word, the playoffs. 5-0. They've had some very quality wins against teams that are going to be winning out. I mean, you could say they get a couple more victories in there, especially if they can knock off Centerburg. You got to think, hey, maybe this team's going to finally get into the playoffs, and maybe, they keep winning. They might get one of those 4 spots that give you a bye week and a home game in the second round. But speaking of teams that have made it past the second round, made it to the playoffs, the last 2 conference champs in the K-Mac matched off tonight on the brand new carpet up at Tough Street Stadium. Myself, Ken Parrott, Brandon Powell were up at Danville as the team 2 years ago, Blue Devils, that won the conference championship, took on the Northmor Golden Knights that won it last year. Both teams made it to the Final Four a season ago as well. Lost some key players, but still, they have pieces that could get them on another run of the playoffs, but something had to give because both teams were 0-1 in the conference for the first time in quite some time. So let's get right to the highlights. First quarter, it's already 7-0. Garrett Dish gets in from 2, 14-0, just like this. Both teams trying to avoid going 0-2. This is Brady Carr. He's going to try a 31-yard field goal. Doink, double doink. It gets through. It's 17-0 Golden Knights. Ensuing possession, Nolan Ridgway back to pass, overthrows his receiver, and into the hands of Brad Bolin. He keeps bowling down the field, cuts back. He's in pick 6, 23-0. Do we have a blowout? Well, not yet. In steps freshman quarterback Parker Proper, and he's going to use his legs to send his squad on a drive, and he's going to get a little extra 15 yards with the extracurriculars there. Sets up 1st and goal from the 1, and a jump pass is returned to Danville. Proper to Big Bro Carson. It's 23-6. 2 plays later, Northmor with the swing pass, and Wes Payne with the perfect tackle and strip. It's a fumble. Payne picks it up, plays tightrope down the sideline. Will he stay in? He will. 12 points in 19 seconds, 23-12 at the break. But the Golden Knights answer to start the second half. Dish scores his second from a couple out. They take 6.5 minutes off the clock with the drive, and they will roll 37-12. Northmor gets win number 1 in the K-Mac, 1-1. They are 3-2. Danville, 2-3. They are 0-2 in the K-Mac action, Brian. And Danville, they struggled a little bit, especially running the ball tonight. They had 95 total yards on the night. Northmor, a team that was struggling in the run game a little bit, pretty much matched the passing game. 220 yards through the air, 219 yards on the ground. So the Golden Knights have something going. Danville, despite only 95 yards, maybe they do have something going with Proper at quarterback because he was able to use his legs a lot. The only thing now, they have a pretty decent defense. Their special teams trying the onside kicks. Ridgway had some great punts as well, backing up Northmor a few times. It's the pass game. Can Danville establish a pass game? Because if they can get balanced, they can really work Cy Wallace back into the game. Proper can run as well. It's the passing game that needs to get going.
And it looks like Northmor, maybe a lot of folks were writing them off, but the Golden Knights are still very much in the mix and keeping their head very above water. And Danville maybe got a lot of press clippings in the offseason, but you got to prove it out there on the field so far. And a lot of pressure, of course, with them getting the new Tough Street Stadium surface and everything. So maybe it's a lot here for Danville to absorb early on in the season. But I'm sure you're pretty proud to see what's been going on with Coach Armrose and those Golden Knights so far early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, Connor Stockdale, one of the big play receivers for the Golden Knights, but they had multiple big play receivers. They aren't even throwing downfield like you saw with A.J. Bauer to his receivers in Landon and Jack Swenger, players like that. He's throwing 2-3 yard outs and letting his receivers use their speed to weave through traffic. Tanner Miley, our junior, he was our MVP tonight. He had 91 rushing yards along with his 220 pass yards, 3 total touchdowns. But it's his elusiveness that we haven't seen in the last 4 years with Northmor, because A.J. Bauer did not run the ball a lot. He just used his arm to go downfield. So that dual threat capability, Garrett Dish tonight, he had 15 yards rushing going into the game. He ended up finishing the game, clinching with a 62-yard run. So they got him going around. Carson Campbell, who's back from last year, they have him running too. So that run game, they can get that going. It will open more of those little pop passes up to allow their speedy receivers to get the big play.
All right, let's see more from the KMAC now as we'll bring in Jonathan Langdon. He was down in the heart of Ohio today, and Trojans certainly figure to be in the conversation when it's all said and done. They had Loudonville over at their place, who got off to a nice start to the season, but it seems like the Birds maybe got one of their wings clipped or something. They're fading a little bit here over the last couple of weeks, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a great game over at the heart of Ohio. Trojans are good to be back at home after getting a good win over those Northmor Golden Knights we just talked about. Let's go ahead and get right into this highlight reel, because Centerburg wasted absolutely no time. Let's get to the highlight reel here, as Centerburg with a big win over Northmor last week thanks to 3 takeaways by the Trojan defense. Well, they did not wait long at all to get the flaming hot offense on the field, as Haven Love ripped away this ball from Chase Wright on the second play from scrimmage, and it gets better, folks. The very next play, Hayden Love turns his defensive heroics into offense, as there's some love in the air between the star wideout and his QB Blaine Ball. 27-yard touchdown pass there. After a Loudonville punt later on in the quarter, the Trojans surged down the field 88 yards, capping it off with Miles Marshall, his touchdown, making it 9 in 3 weeks for those of you keeping track, as the guy Miles Marshall continues to garner some D1 attention. Blaine Ball, however, moves him out of the way on this play to take this himself, and look at that. Boom. Head spinning from Loudonville after this play frees up the signal caller for a 33-yard scamper to pay dirt. That would make it 20-zip Trojans. Not many highlights for Loudonville in this one, but a funky play here will show. Colin Cayley can't bring in this pass, but technically it's a fumble. Cayley picks it up unbeknownst to the Centerburg defense and takes it inside the red zone. Great awareness by Cayley. However, the drive would stall soon after, and later in the second, Blaine Ball turns on the afterburners, leaves some birdies in the dust, and makes it the halftime score 26-0. To the second half we go. Blaine balled out in this one tonight. This would make it 3 touchdowns on the ground, had one through the air earlier that you saw. Finished this game with 183 rushing yards, surpassed 1,000 all-purpose yards on the season this week. And to put the finishing touches on this one, how about a 93-yard touchdown run from Miles Marshall? Did you really think he was done after that score in the first? Come on, you don't know Miles. This cherry on top would put the final score to 41-0. Centerburg's offense continues to dominate these last 3 weeks since that loss to Johnstown Monroe. And I'm telling you what, 408 rushing yards on the night for the Centerburg team. And they're sending a message to that KMAC that they've got some dogs in the backfield. But not only that, they've got some bulls on that front line, offensive line, helping them get those touchdowns. They're continuing to pile it on the ground.
Really explosive offense for them. Defensively, though, I'm pretty impressed as well. So it seems like the Trojans, they're a super balanced team on both sides. They've got athletes everywhere, as you mentioned. There's some guys that are getting some looks from some big-time collegiate programs right now, Jonathan. So as far as being just a complete overall team, you pretty impressed with these Trojans so far?
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, the game against Northmor was going to turn some heads, just with how they kind of ran the table pretty much that entire game until Northmor put some points on the board late, made it a little closer than the score a little bit closer than it actually was. But Centerburg coming into this game, they knew that they had an opportunity to really send a message, as everybody was really had their eyes on that Mount Gilead Fredericktown game, as they should. But Centerburg took it to Loudonville. Redbirds starting to slide a little bit. They had a great non-conference run, but the KMAC so far has been a rough go for them these last 2 seasons. But I could definitely start to see some glimpses from Loudonville, but Centerburg still runs things towards the top half of the standings, and they showed why tonight.
Since we're still hanging out in the KMAC corner, I want to get your quick perspective on the outcome, Northmor versus Danville, and the Blue Devils right now below 500 for the first time in forever, it seems like. So what's your take on what's going on right now down on Tough Street?
It just feels like right now for this Danville squad that they're trying to figure out the quarterback position. I think Travis hit the nail on the head. They have started to see the shift of the passing game and how important it is to win a KMAC championship. They want to implement that as soon as possible. And we've seen that try to be executed through Nolan Ridgway. Now they're starting to throw in Parker Proper, throw the freshman into the mix. It's really interesting where they sit right now as we're now halfway through the season. Are they going to get that passing game together in time to get a decent seeding in the tournament and try to make a run then? Or do they try to go back to their identity in previous years and just start to run the football a lot more and maybe go for a higher seed? Or I don't know how that's going to work out, but you can definitely tell Coach Bloom wants to throw the football once the postseason comes around.
All right, appreciate the perspective, Mr. Langdon, the new chair of the KMAC Corner. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you on Monday, sir.
Absolutely. I'll see you then.
Since we're talking a little bit about Loudonville, who's now 3 consecutive losses after a nice 2-0 start, let's bring back in the source from Ashland County, and hopefully he can hear me this time. Mr. Doug Haydett here on the line with us. And the Redbirds, man, 3 straight losses for them, Doug. I don't know how high their expectations really were, but when you come out of the gates as hot as they were, to lose in the manner that they have here recently, do you feel like this is a ship that can be rerouted, or maybe were they a bit ahead of schedule coming out with the 2 straight wins?
Yeah, we got the Wi-Fi sorted out over here, Brian, so thanks for hanging with me. Yeah, Loudonville, I covered their game with Hillsdale. There were some bright spots in that game. I mean, they've got some young guys out there that are doing some things for them. I remember talking to Ed Honebarger after that game, and he said that they're still going to take their lumps this year a little bit. So he thought, if they could get 4 or 5 wins this season, that would be a success. I mean, like I said, they did have some bright spots with Hillsdale, playing Mapleton in the opener of the season. Definitely did a good job there, putting up the points and really getting a little bit of steam coming off an 0-10 season. So, I mean, there are positives. Sometimes you just gotta kind of work your way out of it a little bit, and it takes a full season to get things turned around. And if they can get a little bit of momentum at some point here and just look at the positives, I think they'll have something rolling going into next season.
Well, there's a lot of positives to talk about for the other couple of teams that are going down in Ashland County right now. They're off to 5-0 starts. You already saw the moving pictures for the Hillsdale Falcons, a team that we all kind of expected to be in this position right now at 5-0. So tell me what you are most impressed with when you see Trevor Klein's team perform. Both sides of the football are really locked in. Obviously, they've got a multi-year starter right now in a lot of positions on the offensive side of things. What's your big takeaway so far, 5 weeks for the Falcons?
Biggest takeaway is they're kind of ignoring, not ignoring, but I mean, they're past last season's success. I mean, even when I talked to the guys after the game I covered there a couple weeks ago, it was, we've moved on, new season, all that stuff. And I mean, Trevor's got them in the right mindset, and they're just kind of going out and answering the bell each week. I mean, defensively, just really running the show every single week, holding teams down, not giving anybody hope out of the gate. I mean, when you can play like that and you can maintain it and you can stay healthy, I mean, it sets the tone for a monster season. And I mean, it seems like they're pacing themselves too. So, I mean, you learn a lot when you have a season like they did last year. I mean, they had massive blowout wins. They had tight wins in the playoffs. They had the double Hail Mary game against Malvern in the playoffs. So they went through a ton last year. And I feel like even though the games haven't been close yet, they've still put what they've learned from last year into what they're doing this season, while also kind of putting it away and just saying, hey, this is a new year, and let's set the tone for this season.
Reloaded and definitely taking care of business, and I think you can say the same for the Ashland Arrows, who you covered tonight. And I'm not sure how much we really learn about them in their early portion of the OCC schedule against a 1-4 now Dover team, but definitely the defense shined, and then a lot of new weapons were on display here for the Arrows. So break down for me the 42-7 victory and what you're going to be writing about that we can learn more on in your article in The Source.
Yeah, so the big thing tonight that I'm kind of leading out with is just this team it's had a couple of missteps defensively in the first quarter, the first half, a few times this season. Tonight they give up the first touchdown of the game, go down 7-0, and it seems like Dover's moving the ball a little bit, but then Ashland gets some turnovers and just puts the nail in the coffin really quickly. They end up scoring 42 unanswered points, win 42-7. They've had 12 turnovers here over the last 3 weeks combined that they've forced. The defense, the number that I've got here, they have outscored teams 79-7 after halftime this season, 145-21 after the first quarter. So a lot of teams trying to do the same thing against them, making sure that Nathan Bernhard doesn't beat them deep over the top with passes, and they're just offensively kind of taking what they're given, short game. The cool thing about tonight, Braden Donatini breaks out. He did not have a single reception this season. Tonight he had 3 for 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. And talking to Bernhard after the game, he kind of laughed about it. He said, that's my threat up the middle, and when they're guarding our weapons outside, that's the first time I've kind of been able to connect with him. So fun to watch him exploit that tonight.
New weapons, seems like they can't be stopped, and they won't be over the next couple of weeks. We don't think. They've got Madison and the Mansfield Senior in consecutive weeks. So for this Arrows team and Scott Valentine off to this unbelievable start, Military Appreciation Night tonight, what can you say about just kind of the vibe around the community and maybe the heightened expectations? When Coach Valentine's there, you're expecting that you're going to come out, you're going to be a very competitive team, you're going to make the postseason, but it feels different to me this year, Doug. Maybe this is a squad that's teetering on a squad that you predict might be in a regional championship or maybe beyond.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of similarities with what I said about Hillsdale. I mean, last year they had some games where it was tight early on. I think it was a 17-14 win over New Philly that they had in the OCC early last year, and some other games where they didn't really bulldoze their way to things early. You mentioned Madison. Last year they had an overtime game with Madison. I think Madison ended up going 2-8, and that was a game they easily could have lost last year, and that would have changed the narrative around, you have the whole 10-0 regular season and everything else, and Ashland was able to pull that one out. This year just seems like very similar to Hillsdale. Learned from so many things last year, have so many key players back that know how to hold each other accountable. Bernhard told me after the game tonight, we can't let what happened against Madison last year happen this year. So he was already talking about that game when I tried to mention, you're halfway to 10-0, and he was locked on week 6. So definitely some big steps, and they're putting teams away. Defense is coming up with turnovers. I had, like I said, I think 4 turnovers tonight. Bodie Smith, Jeff Hickey with interceptions, Jordan Ferguson and Tanner Wolf with fumble recoveries. So just kind of do it on both sides of the ball. When they can put a full game together, they're going to be really scary. But right now they're doing it for the majority of the game, and it's worked out for them. So.
Yeah, they definitely appear to be the class of the OCC again this season. It's going to be those last 2 out of the last 3 weeks that are really going to determine some things. West Holmes off to a 4-1 start, and then Lexington as well, looming in week number 10. But cool to see what's going on right now over in Ashland. And how about 6 home games for them over at Community Stadium this year? So the rich just seem to get richer, and probably a team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's a long way away, but I think that we can start talking about playoffs. They're right there near the top of the charts, and likely can get a couple of home playoff games when it all boils down, Doug. But appreciate you staying up with us here late night, and always great when I can actually hear your voice, sir.
Yeah, that worked out for us. So, but like you mentioned, the West Holmes and Lex games, I'm looking forward to those. West Holmes kind of creeping into the picture here a little bit with the way they've been playing. And Bernhardt, I do want to say 5 more touchdowns tonight on offense, 96 for his career. He even had some big tackles early on defense. They had him out there running around a little bit. So showing off his speed defensively. And Scott Valentine, 190th career coaching victory across all of his coaching stops. So good to see.
Get these nuggets and much more if you check out the Ashland source. Doug Haydett, always thanks for the time, buddy.
You got it. Thanks, Bryant.
All right, we are going to take a much-needed commercial time out. When we come back, we've got a ton more highlights still to come. We've got more undefeateds on the way. We're going to show you how Colonel Crawford rolled to a big-time victory. I've still got my game from over at Bob Wine Field and plenty more still to come, including your top play of the week and your Friday Night Phenom from week number 4. Stay here. We'll be right back in a couple minutes.
Hey, does your checking account pay you with real cash rewards with no monthly maintenance fees ever? Bummer. Ask for Kasasa Rewards Checking. It's our superpower.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
Hi guys, I need you all to have a foam finger. At Mechanics Bank, we're all about the community. Whether it's supporting our local teams or cheering you on in life, we're here for you in every victory, big or small. Mechanics Bank! That's better.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, our caring professionals are ready to serve you with personally tailored services designed to meet the unique needs of each individual. When we take on a patient at Avita Home Health and Hospice, they really do feel like family. So when we take care of our family, we want to take care of the whole person. So we take care of them from our nurses, our aides, our physical, occupational, and speech therapists, but we also have people that tend to their hearts. So we have social workers, we have chaplains, and people that can help with the emotional side of their care.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, we have a dedicated team that takes care of you. Caring for the whole person is our promise to you. From social and emotional well-being to the way the patient relates to their loved ones, we treat your family like our family.
Serving patients and their families wherever they call home, including assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Call 1-800-4NURSES to see if Avita can help administer your plan of custom care.
In business and ag banking, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people. At First Federal Community Bank, we believe relationships are the foundation of every successful partnership. We can help you grow your farm through various ag programs, including working with our local FSA offices, as well as Farmer Mac. We have many commercial business programs to help make your day-to-day operations easy and convenient. Because when you bank with us, you're not just a customer, you're family.
When it comes to comfort, every degree matters. At Buckeye Horizon, we proudly install and maintain Trane heating and cooling systems built to last, engineered for performance. And with our expert service, your home stays comfortable year-round. No matter the season, we'll keep your system running at its best. Call Buckeye Horizon at 419-529-2738, your local Trane comfort specialist.
Every week, we nominate, you decide what was the best play of the week, and also the Friday Night Phenom. And we had some great nominees for you guys for week number 4. And after we collected all the votes and added them up, here is who you selected as your Phenom from week number 4. Hard to argue with the performance from Mr. Cal Lewis, who lit it up, only had 2 incomplete passes the entire night, probably a perfect passer rating, 162 yards in the air, 4 times. Dude said he threw the ball to, got into the end zone. That's about 50% of his completions were going for scores on this night. So his performance against Chippewa was your pick this week for the Friday Night Phenom, throwing dimes into his brother in the back of the end zone. What could be better than that family affair? And here's how it kind of shook out. So we are trying to be transparent with these votes, and 30%. So this was a pretty good showdown. And you see Kel there, number 4, he is the yellow. So he got some really good competition this week from Jax Lester of East Knox was right up in there as well as Braden DeVito. Hey, let's go Whip It fans. Actually got him into the mix. He had 5 touchdowns this week, and you actually got some votes out there. But Kel Lewis had more than anybody. And then when it comes to my favorite segment every week, I'm all about those top plays, baby. And here's your winner from week 4. If you can believe it, this kid is brand new to football in 2025. Carter Myers slipping through a pair of defenders, throws one more to the ground, and he steamrolls his way into the zone. Check this out. He just gets kind of skinny, knocks 2 dudes into each other like they're a pair of dominoes, walks right through that one, and then into the zone. River Valley with a big win over Pleasant. And that is your top play of the week. And as far as the voting, you can see domination by Myers. Anything that's over 30% means that it was kind of a landslide, because we give you 10 options to choose from every week. Carter took nearly 36% home. A.J. Brown, who kicked the record-setting field goal for Hillsdale, in second place in the vote this week. Thanks to everybody who chimed in and had your voice be heard. All right, kind of the theme of the night here at the beginning, we were talking about a lot of the 5-0 teams, and I kind of already gave it away, but Colonel Crawford is one of those teams now. They were over in New Washington tonight, and I got some moving pictures to show you how the Eagles got it done. Gonna start things off with the McMonster, as nicknamed by Mr. Zach Truax. I'm gonna steal it because it's an awesome nickname, and he runs exactly true to that name. That's Connor McMichael, is his real God-given name. That made it 7-0 off of that run. Now here's Dominic Dink. A 9-yard touchdown run extends the Eagles' cushion to 14-0. That was on the first play of the second quarter. Not that long later, after a BC turnover, it's the McMonster again. Eating up more yards. 17 yards. He gets into the zone here. And this was your call of the night. The throw, the pick, the interception return from Trey Skaggs, and it is a rout. It's still in the second quarter. It's already a 4-score game. Parker Weitzman's like, nah, fam, let's add one more on top of that. 50-yard return. He just absolutely threw a kid in his wake on his way into the zone. 35-0 at the half. Avery Powers would add another score here, spin that running clock, and Jack Phillips would kind of finish it off here for the Bucs. They're like, you know what? It hasn't been our night, but we're not going down with a goose egg on our board. Beautiful dot right there, 28-yard strike to make it 42-8. But Colonel Crawford, what a start to their season so far. The Eagles have been fantastic, and pretty much everybody's pick in the Northern 10 to be a champion, looking to regain the form that they had from a couple of seasons ago. Mohawk is keeping up with them so far at this point of the year. We'll see if the Eagles are able to continue their run of domination. Midway point and still a goose egg in that loss column. A team that just suffered their first defeat of the year just last week against the Shelby Whippets, who are also now 5-0, but the Galion Tigers, they were looking to bounce back tonight over at Niss Stadium, and it was homecoming night for the Warriors, coming off of a bittersweet loss last week against Clear Fork, where they thought they had the game-winning score with about 20 seconds left. A flag kind of took it away from them, and there was not a lot to be had offensively in this game. That was about the most excitement that Warriors fans had all night, because Samuel Evans would put Galion on top here early on in the game. We're showing you the PAT only because that's the only 2 scores in the game. 7-0. Ontario would play some nice defense. Here's an interception to get the ball back, but they would return the favor on the other side. A fumble actually recovered here for Ontario. And that's it. What a highlight, because there just was not any offense in this game. back and forth each team went. It was a little bit sloppy. The defenses really came to play in this game. So the Tigers, they were hungry coming into this one, and it doesn't matter what it looks like at the end of the day. You just want that victory, and that's big time right now for Matt Dick's club, who's now at 4-1 on the season and getting back to even 1-1 in the MOAC. And for the Warriors, after they were kind of coming out of their shell, we thought, a huge win over Madison, tons of offense. Now all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, goose egg at home tonight on homecoming night, though against a very talented Tigers defense, and then just 10 points last week against Clear Fork. So it's going to be interesting to see how they end up stacking up in the MOAC this season, because there's plenty of other quality teams out there, including a pair that went head-to-head tonight in Marion County, and the voice of Marion County football here on the OH Report. Mr. Joshua Banks has been hanging out with us. Glad that we can finally rope you in, man. In this game, it intrigued me. It got my attention because River Valley, they're hit or miss. Sometimes they're knocking it out of the park. Other times they can't get back on ball. And then Marion Harding, it's one of those teams too that it seems like they've got a lot of athletes. Maybe they finally put it all together tonight.
Yeah, I spoke with both coaches before the game. Coach CJ Wessler for Harding said they're about 4 plays away from being 3-1 tonight. And you're going to see the moving pictures here of how they dominated the Marion County rivalry. And this young man right here, it was our MVP. Bulldozer touchdown. He's unstoppable, because that's Landon Keller. But Eli Snyder, hey, you're going to see it here on his head. He goes up, pulls one in. That might be a top play nominee. I'll save that for you guys on the podcast, though. Here goes Keller, 76 yards on the screenplay. That's a true freshman quarterback. And Keller's untouched up the sideline. This Marion Harding offense proved tonight that they're very talented, but I think their defense did it all, forcing four turnovers. As Keller's going to go over the top, go over the pile. You don't see that in high school football very often. That's his third touchdown of the evening. But Carter Myers, hey, all the dude does is score touchdowns. 37 yards, another one for him on the season. Next, you're going to see Jaden Jordan make a play coming up for the Presidents. How about this read by the freshman? He fooled my camera guy for a second. Gets the flip out. Jaden Jordan catches it and does the rest. And then the last touchdown is going to be Glover for Harding. Just a little 5-yard. He gets to the edge. The speed that the Presidents have is what was most impressive. But Carter Myers, you're going to see here, we might have another nominee, Brian. You might have to take your pick from this game. Let's watch this catch. Another touchdown for Carter Myers as he's going to go up and come down. The right foot catches the end zone. That'll be the last score of the game. And Marion Harding, 32-20, 407 yards of total offense, and they forced 4 Vikings turnovers.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a read on them because I'm looking at their schedule right now. They were coming in 3 consecutive losses, but 1 score losses each of the last couple of weeks. Cannot believe that they lost to Highland in overtime, given what I just saw there. Lima Senior, a bit more understandable. So you tell me, you saw them in person. What's your read on the Presidents heading into that big Week 6 clash over at the Colt Corral?
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. MOAC football is really, really good this year. Highland knocks off Harding last week, and we see Harding dominate River Valley tonight. Their defense is outstanding. Their offense it's going to be hit or miss. You've got a freshman quarterback in Des Feliciano. The kid can throw the ball. He did not make a single bad read tonight. And then Landon Keller goes for 120 yards on the ground and 2 scores. They're very well balanced. But we've seen what happened when they ran into a very talented team. Granted, it's the Ashland Arrows. They got beat 42-7. Can they score with a defense like they're going to face in Clear Fork? And then they still got the Big 4 to play with Clear Fork, Ontario, Galion, and Shelby. This was a big win tonight, but they got a long road ahead.
Yeah, same thing when you start looking at River Valley. They've got the 5-0 Whippets next week, and then in a couple of weeks, they are going to be on the road at Galion, Clear Forks after that, and then Ontario too. So it doesn't get much easier for either of these Marion County opponents tonight. But for the Vikings, they've got some new kids. Of course, Smith checking in. He's playing quarterback this year. Carter Myers, he's kind of brand new to the football game too. A couple basketball kids coming out, and they're just slinging it around. So they're at least an exciting watch, Josh. I don't know that they're going to collect a ton of wins over the next several weeks. However, is this a team that you'll sign up to go check out? Because the highlights, man, they kind of speak for themselves and the fan base too. Carter Myers, your top play of the week. There's something behind this team. It seems like they got a little bit of juice.
Well, and it's just like last year. If you think about the Vikings last year, I had the pleasure of covering them all season. Their offense was high-powered. Highlight after highlight with Chase Ebert. They're the same thing this year. Their offense can score. They've got athletes. Their defense struggles to stop anybody.
That's right. So the MOAC, man, it's going to be a pleasure to watch over these next several weeks. Josh, appreciate you staying up late with us. Sir, enjoy your weekend. I know you got the Harvest Festival going down out there in Crestline. Yep. What's the big ticket attraction that you're going to see tomorrow?
It's $100 for my kids to be able to ride rides all day. So that's the big ticket attraction. Who knows about food? No, it's a good festival for a community. They've got games, they've got rides, they've got food, they've got a stage set up. So we'll go check it out tomorrow, spend the day, and see what happens.
All right, good stuff, Josh Banks. I love it. The price of admission, that's his big ticket to the weekend, man. All right, the price of admission tonight, if you wanted to come in and see the Lucas Cubs in action, you at least got to see a homecoming team. Great festivities overall. They do it fantastic out there in Cub Country, and I love Bob Wine Field just overall. They had a team coming all the way from the corner of West Virginia. I see Travis Barty, he got his hands up in the air. He's like, that's right. I've heard of those Purple Riders from Martin's Ferry. They've been reeling a little bit. Cubs coming off of a shutout victory, looking for their third straight win at home this season. Here is how it all ended up. And staying perfect, not easy at home, even when you've got a home fan base as good as the Lucas Cubs, but they would strike gold first. How about some Brady Giegold igniting the first firework display? 13-yard touchdown run right there gets the scoring started, but the Purple Riders respond, ensuing possession. Joaquin Cox shows that he's going to go to the edge, cuts back into a crowd. He gets in. The Cubs led it 7-6, though, after an unsuccessful two-point try. We'll take you early second quarter now. The Lucas run game just prospecting for gold yet again, and they would strike it rich. 42-yard tutty this time. Cubs get the 2, and it's a 2-score game. But the first play of the third quarter, sophomore Elijah Roby swings all the momentum into Martin's Ferry, showcasing the Jets. 59 yards on the cutback. He ends up in pay dirt. They'd get the 2-point conversion. Ensuing kickoff, and you're about to see the Pat McAfee special. That's right. Jacob Thaker with the onside kick straight ahead, and he recovers the rock all on his own. Purple Riders back in business. They've got the football. Cubs would stop them at least to a fourth down and short. They ran it all night. This time it's a play action. Colby Croppa hits it on the play action, and Lucas Shane does the rest. Cuts inside, and that would put them up for good. 16 unanswered points, and Lucas hadn't even touched the ball. Cox would start to put the finishing touches on this one. You see the man just getting out into the open field, and he is a menace, just a sophomore, but he's dynamite. That's 79 of his career high, 258. And now here's his third score of the night on a fourth down. Martin's Ferry gets it done, 34-15, holding Lucas to less than 30 yards of offense in the second half. And I've called a lot of high school football games. This one, certainly, it had one of those unusual feels where Lucas, they look like the team to beat. In the first couple of quarters, Martin's Ferry was getting stopped on some plays that you were like, okay, maybe their quarterback just doesn't have it on this night. And then they come out and you see what they did. First play of the third quarter, boom, touchdown, onside kick right away, boom, they get the ball back. Big touchdown play again, and Lucas was shell-shocked. They never, ever recovered, and they got one first down, and one first down only in the second half, and I think it might have been off of a penalty if memory serves. So the Cubs They dipped to 2-3 on the season. This is a team that's got a Richland County record of 11 consecutive playoff appearances, and I think very much in jeopardy now, not winning this game. Talking to Joaquin afterwards, Cox was our MVP, and I loved his response. I said, getting behind in this game, coming back and winning, just what do you think this can do for the entire attitude of the team? And he had a very short answer. He just said, this saved our season. Might have done the exact opposite for Lucas. I'm very curious to see how this team is going to respond over the next 5 weeks. They're going to have to collect at least 3 or 4 wins to continue this playoff streak now that they're in Region 27, and they are outside the top 20 right now, according to Joe Idle. All right, let's change gears now, and we're going to check out some Firelands Conference action. We're up at Contractor Stadium. The St. Paul Flyers, a team that many predicted would be the grand champion of the Firelands when it was all said and done. But hey, not so fast, my friends. Western Reserve feels like they're going to have a lot to say about the storyline when it's all said and done. And we had Mr. Norwalk out there at the game tonight. Chris Bliley, there he is. What's going on, my guy? Hanging out in the party barn, I presume?
Yeah, in the party barn here tonight. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to at least the rest of the year now that I'm trained up. I can send highlights in, and we'll talk about the northern teams in the Firelands Conference. And we were expecting a big battle tonight with Western Reserve and St. Paul, and it turned into a blowout. Coach Ty Stevenson and the Western Reserve Rough Riders come in and scored the first 20 points, and then it was just off to the races, a complete domination of a very good St. Paul team tonight.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see the final score in this one. So we're going to show some of these highlights. Just break it down for me. Did you feel like this was an outmatched St. Paul team when the two actually went head-to-head on the field? Or was this just more of an off night?
Yeah, what you saw there was the first of 5 touchdown runs for Brandon Wiggle. Here, wow. A great pass from backup quarterback Colton Migro to Brexton Freilich. And then, the first 2 possessions, they missed 2-point conversions, led 12-0. Here, again, Landon Wiggle with his 3rd touchdown run in the first half. He had a game earlier in the season where he ran for 4. St. Paul's only bright spot on offense here, quarterback Coonley finds Rosbert. It will end up going for 52 yards. And really the only highlight for St. Paul, that play, and freshman Casey Freeze, who operates out of the Wildcat here, is going to take it in for 3 yards. He would score the Flyers' last touchdown with about 2 minutes to go in the game. But at this point, Western had a 20-7 lead. Here's Wiggle again, and no pun intended. You give him a little bit of wiggle room, and he is off to the races. Again, they missed another 2-point conversion. I think if you talk St. Paul, you would have to say, I hate to say it, the best part of their game tonight was their 2-point conversion defense. Western scored 7 touchdowns and only got 2 2-point conversions, but they did whatever they want. Here is a long run from Cooper Rowe out of the slot position. Great job by Eli Rosbert to run him down at the 1 after a penalty. It's Migro again who finds Rowe for the 5-yard touchdown pass. I must say, Migro is on in relief in game 1. Hayden Keith, a 3-year letter winner at quarterback, got injured. And since game 1, it's been Colton Migro in relief of him, just a junior, and he's doing a fantastic job. There you see Wiggle going in again and brings the final score to 46-14. We're going to know a lot about the Firelands Conference next week, as we will have live on our Channel 6. Monroeville comes into Western Reserve, and if Western can come out on top there, it's really, they'll put a nail in the coffin. We don't know a lot about Crestview yet. You see them a lot more down in the Mansfield area, so it'll be interesting to see what Crestview does coming up. St. Paul's in search of a 14th straight playoff appearance, and I have a feeling they started 0-3 last year. They'll get things back together under Coach Chris Dowdy. They'll find a way to get to that Monroeville game. They're 2-3 now. I expect to see them in that Monroeville game at 6-3 and playing, maybe to host a playoff game at 7-3.
Yeah, the big game for them will be that Crestview matchup that you mentioned, and the Cougars are a bit of a wild card right now within the Firelands Conference, but this Western Reserve squad, they are just one loss away against a Margaretta team, and that was on the road as well, and we see the Polar Bears, I mean, they're a 1-point difference away from being undefeated right now, so does this appear to you to be the best team in terms of personnel, coaching the whole 9 yards? Do you think the Rough Riders are probably head and shoulders maybe above the rest, and we'll expect them in Week 10 to be competing for the Firelands crown?
I've followed Firelands Conference football for the last 30 years. This is probably the most complete Western Reserve team I've seen. They are big up front. They're physical up front. And usually teams don't come into Contractor Stadium and own the line of scrimmage against Norwalk St. Paul, and they just did it up front today. Those guys were bulldozers.
Yeah, they've been scoring a lot of points in their wins. They're averaging 40-plus on the season, so that's always exciting. A great brand of football. And on the flip side, coming off of back-to-back wins, and the one over Plymouth as well, where it was 57-0. Not necessarily back to the drawing board here for St. Paul, but did it feel like there was just kind of a bad taste in the mouth all the way around Flyer Nation tonight?
I've never seen the homestand so quiet, but they were quiet today because Western really – they won the toss. They said, give us the ball. They ran it down the field, scored the touchdown. They kicked off, and then their defensive line, 2 stout stops on run, a sack on St. Paul trying to throw it. They punt, take it down the field again, and basically at that point the crowd was out of it. They are partying in Wakeman and in Collins today. But having said that, I do expect St. Paul, that Crestview game is going to be a huge game, and the Monroeville game is kind of going to tell us anything. The top 4 in the Firelands Conference this year, Western, Monroeville, St. Paul, and Crestview, I can see each of those 4 teams making it into the playoffs.
Well, the good news for St. Paul fans is at least they're going to be away from home the next couple of weeks, so they got a chance to earn back some trust before they come back to Contractor Stadium for that home stretch and trying to continue being in the playoffs year after year after year, Chris. It's not that easy. I know that it's been a little bit watered down since 2020, but before that, just the 8 teams getting in. So they've got one of the longest runs going right now in the state for a small school, and fully expect St. Paul to get this thing flying in the right direction by season's end, man. And I'm glad that we got it going with you up there in OH Report North, because the party room, brother, it's a great look in there, and obviously the breakdowns equally.
Hey, I do want to say that next time I'm on the show, you made me follow a legend in Josh Banks. Josh, I believe, went for 4 bratwurst when he was broadcasting St. Paul's home playoff game last year. And I'm known to be a scratch eater. I'm a scratch golfer, but I'm also a scratch eater. But I cannot even come close to Josh Banks. So I'm expecting you to put like Berardi in between Banks and Bliley next week.
All right, I'll try to water it down before we bring you on to the show, Chris. Thanks for making your Pigskin debut, bro.
By the way, I expect to see you at the Muni Lot and the Barley House on Sunday, Ski.
Oh, you better believe it. Muni Lot is gonna have to pass me off over to you, so I'm gonna show up in rare form, sir.
You got it. Go Brownies.
All right, let's go from all the way up north, all the way down south, and let's live in some gridiron glory, shall we? And you already know what that means. That's right, there he is, the devilishly handsome Evan Johnson. Hair still all in place this late in the evening, man. Yeah. Give us a breakdown. Where were you tonight down in Southern Ohio, and what was the expectation going in?
I made my way a little bit north this time. I was up in Lancaster, Ohio, covering Bishop Rosecrans at Fisher Catholic. Fisher Catholic doesn't have a field of their own, so they share Lancaster High School's field. So kind of interesting with 2 really small schools in this big stadium, but it was a treat. And let's get right into it. Fisher Catholic hasn't beat Bishop Rosecrans in 3 years, but they're coming out swinging, popping the ball out, and that just kind of shifted the momentum. And Fisher Catholic looking to strike first. And this catch, I mean, oh my gosh. He's just a skinny kid, but he was making physical catches all night long. Bishop Rosecrans in the second quarter immediately responding. Toe tap in the back of the end zone for Cohen Grandstaff. They missed the extra point, 7-6 at this point. Fisher Catholic goes to the air again, and they start the game with 2 passing touchdowns, which is very uncharacteristic of them. And from this point on, it was the O'Reilly show. Hyde O'Reilly he got several touchdowns back-to-back. He was on fire tonight for the Irish. They started to run away with it, and they just really put it on in the second half. They would go on to win this game 34-6.
They look like they're going to be a contender, I think, within Region 27 this year based on the moving picture. So you see all the offensive exploits to hold a team like Bishop Rosecrans to just a single score. Tell me about the defense from the Irish tonight.
Yeah, the defense was all over. Rosecrans could not get their running game started at all. They tried in the beginning. The first few drives, they were able to get a couple chunk runs, but eventually the Irish just really shut down on the line. In the trenches on both sides, Fisher Catholic was fantastic. They have some amazing linemen. And in the secondary, Rosecrans really started to air it out deep, and they just never get anybody open downfield. They could never get the big play they needed. Fisher Catholic, they were just all over the field tonight.
And I'm looking at the league right now, and there seems to be some quality opponents, and specifically for the Irish coming up. So they've got Miller and Millersport on the way, a 3-2 and 2-3 team before they start getting to a whole bunch of squads that have at least 4 wins so far on the season, Evan. So it seems like this was a very important win for Fisher Catholic to collect tonight. Did it feel that way, that they were very much in need of getting a victory here on this Friday night?
I don't want to say relieved that they got this win because they're expecting to win this game. But with the MSL Cardinal right now, it is a toss-up between a handful of teams. So any conference win is just so crucial. Doesn't matter what point of the season. Like you mentioned, they're facing Miller next week. Miller won the MSL Cardinal last year. But then Miller, we talked about Grove City Christian against Mount Gilead a few weeks ago. Grove City Christian wins that game 63-20. So each week, you just really have no clue what team is going to show up and who's going to show out. So it's definitely going to be coming down to the final weeks for this conference.
And unfortunately for the Bishops, they get out of the gates pretty hot, man. They knock off Beechwood. Big score there, 42-8. They put up 36 in a win over New London. 3 consecutive losses for them. And, of course, the road, it doesn't get much easier. So what's your outlook now for the Bishops here for the rest of 2025?
The Bishops are starting to fall behind in the MSL Cardinal. Obviously, like I mentioned, everyone feels like they have a chance, but they're going to have to start winning some big games. They're going to have to start showing out in the big moments. We saw them they got really chippy in the second half for sure. Once they got punched in the mouth, they did not handle it well. They had a lot of just very stupid penalties that they felt they probably shouldn't have had, and I think that momentum carried on.
Speaking of momentum, the Ohio Bobcats, Evan, what do they have going on right now? What's happening tomorrow?
Well, we got Gardner-Webb, FCS school, a bounce-back win before we start conference play. Ohio and Notre Dame were the only 2 teams in the country to start their season with 3 Power 4 teams. 1 and 2, we just lost to Ohio State, put up a fight, was in it in the third quarter. This team's looking like a MAC champion again.
I love it, man. Love the enthusiasm. Even at 1 a.m., the Bobcats back on the prowl, baby. Buckeyes on a bye, so we're all fans of the green. This glory. Always appreciate the time, my guy. All right, we're going to take one last time out. When we come back, we've got one more highlight for you guys. We're going to check in on Big Walnut, who's starting to find a bunch of momentum here as we're at the midway point of the season. And, of course, we can't close out the show without a party, so get the champagne ready. That's all on the other side.
Hey, does your checking account pay you with real cash rewards with no monthly maintenance fees ever? Bummer. Ask for Kasasa Rewards Checking. It's our superpower.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
Hi guys, I need you all to have a foam finger. At Mechanics Bank, we're all about the community. Whether it's supporting our local teams or cheering you on in life, we're here for you in every victory, big or small. Mechanics Bank. That's better.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, our caring professionals are ready to serve you with personally tailored services designed to meet the unique needs of each individual. When we take on a patient at Avita Home Health and Hospice, they really do feel like family. So when we take care of our family, we want to take care of the whole person. So we take care of them from our nurses, our aides, our physical, occupational, and speech therapists, but we also have people that tend to their hearts. So we have social workers, we have chaplains, and people that can help with the emotional side of their care.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, we have a dedicated team that takes care of you. Caring for the whole person is our promise to you. From social and emotional well-being to the way the patient relates to their loved ones, we treat your family like our family.
Serving patients and their families wherever they call home, including assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Call 1-800-4NURSES to see if Avita can help administer your plan of custom care.
In business and ag banking, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people. At First Federal Community Bank, we believe relationships are the foundation of every successful partnership. We can help you grow your farm through various ag programs, including working with our local FSA offices, as well as Farmer Mac. We have many commercial business programs to help make your day-to-day operations easy and convenient. Because when you bank with us, you're not just a customer, you're family.
When it comes to comfort, every degree matters. At Buckeye Horizon, we proudly install and maintain Trane heating and cooling systems built to last, engineered for performance. And with our expert service, your home stays comfortable year-round. No matter the season, we'll keep your system running at its best. Call Buckeye Horizon at 419-529-2738, your local Trane comfort specialist.
After spending 3 of the first 4 weeks of the season flying away from home, the big Golden Eagles have landed back in Sunbury tonight to take on one of their OCC rivals. And we have Bryce Coder on the case, per always, our big Walnut correspondent. And Bryce, as expected, fly, Eagles fly, baby. They have kept the good times rolling.
Yeah, after going down week 1, nothing but wins ever since, and commanding wins every single time.
All right, let's see how they did it tonight against Westerville South at home, and starting with some American flavor, baby.
It was military night, backed by popular demand. The paratroopers are back, but starting things off, Eli Stumpf only had 1 rushing touchdown and -9 rushing yards to his credit up until this game. Had a huge night on the run, but before he does that, he finds Dallas Beal on a pass, who does some quick footwork cutting back inside, unobstructed all the way into the end zone. Then on the other end of things, on the goal line, going for the 2-point conversion, it's Owen Pollock, who came up with a big catch earlier in the game. It seems like he's always good for a couple of them. On the other side of things, though, Hassan Kaba with a huge grab, just able to toe tap it to keep it in for the grab. Eli Stumpf, though, wasn't done. Another rushing touchdown, give it to him. Ended up totaling 40 rushing yards on the night, but the 3 rushing touchdowns. There's the final one. Also to his credit, 9 for 16 passing, 166 yards, and a passing touchdown. So an incredible game for Eli Stumpf all around.
Yeah, we've been getting used to seeing Nolan Burley getting into the end zone time after time. Had 5 of them last week. So Eli Stumpf kind of taking matters into his own hands this week. Why do you think that was the case, Bryce, on this particular night where Stumpf was able to get loose and kind of showcase a little bit of his foot skills?
Well, you know, it's amazing when we can say a guy like Nolan Burley has a slow night and he rushes for 175 yards on the night. No touchdowns, though. But he really has drawn a lot of focus. He's the focal point going into these matchups, and it really showed this week where they were quick. They were really quick off the line defensively to stop him in the backfield a couple of times really early on. Broke off some really big runs, including a 71-yard run, but they had a little bit more success than past teams defensively at keeping Nolan Burley at bay. And I talked a little bit to Eli Stumpf during the MVP interview about it. He said that was kind of a game-time decision. There were openings that were there for him that really weren't there for Nolan Burley, and he took advantage.
Let's talk about some of the other weapons, too, because we focus so much on Nolan. You see Dallas getting in the end zone. Owen Pollock, who's a big basketball rebounder, using that big frame in the end zone as well. So within the passing game, when Eli's able to kind of dictate the offense and he's getting out and forcing guys to chase him around, how much are you enjoying seeing this team and other guys kind of blossom? And it seems like the entire offense, everyone's eating, man. It seems like there's enough of the feast to go around.
Yeah, and that was the big question mark for this offense coming in. They lost 2 really senior wide receivers in Carter Dancer and his buddy on the other end. But that was a big loss for both of them because, you know, they relied on them in big situations. When the run wasn't really working, they relied on that to open up the pass. But they've really seen a lot of success in some of the younger guys. Of course, Dallas Beal getting the touchdown tonight, but Gavin Harrington also good for a couple of huge gains every single time he's at the helm.
And you see that they've got Padua Franciscan next on the schedule, stepping out of the conference for the last time this season before they get to a really big one. And who would have thought this at the beginning of the year? Worthington-Kilbourne might be the top contender for the Eagles within the OCC, their division this year, Bryce. So getting a victory against Padua, of course, you got to take care of business against the Bears. But looking beyond that, when they're going on the road as well at Kilbourne, this is shaping up to potentially in Week 7 be the game in the OCC.
Yeah, potentially a de facto OCC Capital championship in the next couple of weeks, and that'll be a big one for Big Walnut as they'll be on the road once again. They're at home against Padua Franciscan. That'll actually be their homecoming, but on the road again, and this is a really good squad that they'll be facing. We've seen them beat a couple of really good teams, and earlier tonight they just beat Dublin Scioto in a 3-point matchup that really is going to be a big energy victory for them.
So fly, Eagles fly, yet again, shaking off that Week 1 loss, Bryce, and deja vu, as mentioned, like we said last week and the week before that, back on schedule and churning out some victories, man. So continue bringing the good juju out there in Sunbury as you watch them take on Padua Franciscan next week, bro.
Thank you so much.
All right, Bryce Coder, everybody, kind of setting the stage here for one of the most important critical parts of any show because you gotta have a good time, and even though it seems like we're doing that throughout the course of the night, it just always seems to bring a big smile to my face anytime we look up north and we see what's going down. That's right, it's a Jardy Party!
Hello, Brian. It's great to see you. Great to see you. I enjoy being your shining star in the north. It's just one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm stepping into some type of a Amish paradise, even though I'm kind of white and nerdy out here in Mansfield, Andy. And let's just keep the puns flowing the whole time. But I'm told that you saw Weird Al sometime this week, man. How was the show?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just insane how popular he has gotten as he just continues to, be around. He's 65 now, and I just saw him play at Blossom. There were 20,000 people there. It's the biggest show I've ever seen him play. He sold out Madison Square Garden a few weeks ago. I mean, we could have a whole podcast episode dedicated to Weird Al. It's just fantastic. I love that man so much. It was a great show.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a lot more to say, but you can just eat it, and let's get on to those No Huddle headlines.
Good grief.
We should. I don't want to dare to be stupid here, so let's just get right into these headlines here. And we start where we always start. Can't stop, won't stop. Marion local has once again won again, 40-7 over New Bremen. That's now 69 wins in a row, 53 straight in the regular season. And I believe this game was tied 7-7 very early on, and then Marion local pulled away, as they so often do. Huge game up here as down goes number 1 for the 4th straight season. Massillon beat St. Edward 21-14. For whatever reason, the Eagles cannot seem to figure out Massillon. They've now lost 4 straight to them. And St. Ed coming into tonight, the number 1 team in Division I, Region 1. This is a big-time loss and a great game between these two powerhouses. Back down into your neck of the woods, Shelby's cooking, Galion with the big rebound. I mean, the Whippets, a big game with Galion last week. You always are curious how these two teams are going to play the next week after such a big game. And Shelby did it in dominating fashion, 48-0. They're 5-0. And how about Galion pitching that shutout? 7-0 at Ontario? Your highlight was great, where we got to see the 2 scoring plays that featured an extra point. I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Kickers are people too, Jardy.
Oh, you know it. We'll get to kickers tonight, Travis.
Yes.
Don't you worry. And then our final No Huddle headline, the Came Action, hashtag, of course. Mount Gilead, 5-0 for the first time ever, it sounds like. Maybe
since
1962.
at least the 60s.
That's amazing. I love things like that. They dominate in a battle of unbeatens. 41-7 over Fredericktown, which sets up a huge matchup with Centerburg next week, who won 41-0 tonight. So all is alive and well. Oh my God, you put the picture on the show. That's just
it's a party in the CIA.
Yes,
let's go.
Yes, it is.
You don't understand how long it took Brian to research all those lyrics.
I never owned a Weird Al CD growing up. I'm actually a little embarrassed about it. I know a lot of his tracks, but I never really bought in.
I'm just hoping he's the Super Bowl performer at some point, because it's time. It's long overdue. I don't know what we're waiting for here, NFL. Make it happen.
If not now, when? Let's get this thing going, man.
Come on.
As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain. I mean, come on.
All right, Andy. A lot of big headlines, of course, there. And I saw, too, that there's somebody that might put out some high school football lines, and I saw that Massillon was a 13.5-point dog, and I was thinking the same thing that you kind of showcased. It was like, haven't the Tigers kind of been owning this head-to-head, and they get it done again?
Yeah.
So no surprise there. And then, of course, man, can't stop, won't stop. Maybe it never does. Maybe Marion local just infinitely, it becomes so boring every single week. Not for them and their fans, of course. Flyer Nation, They're probably very much enjoying the view, but it just seems like when you're closing in on 70 in a row, that just doesn't seem human. That's got to be probably in the top 5 all time in terms of win streaks in the history of high school football. I know that it's just over 100 is the record, but they got to be closing on making some history.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for my segment whenever they lose, because I've started with that ever since we've shifted my post-game Pigskin show duties. So whenever they lose, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. But it's incredible, the way that they're able to do this. And, there's conference winning streaks that teams have put together, but to go out of conference and, to win the state titles and do what they're doing, it's it's something else.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary to watch how they've just continued to churn out athlete after athlete and win after win. And so do the Dandies every week on this list.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We've got our handful of Dandies here for you tonight. And we'll start with the game that we were talking about a little bit. Massillon Xavier Owens, the savior tonight for the Tigers. 32 carries, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns in their 21-14 win over St. Ed. Another huge matchup tonight was between Wadsworth and Twinsburg, both teams unbeaten. And Wadsworth Bryson Hall had 208 passing yards, 3 touchdowns in a 39-0 win over previously undefeated Twinsburg. So shout out to Wadsworth. They are still unbeaten at 5-0. Next Dandy's Dandy coming up for you in a tough, hard-fought loss. Plymouth's Isaiah Miller. It's been a rough go for Plymouth. They had a win in their hands tonight, and they gave up a 90-yard drive in the final minutes and then were picked off in the end zone. Ugh. But Isaiah Miller, standout performance, 21 carries, 208 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Keep fighting, Plymouth. The wins are coming. They're coming. Speaking of wins, Shelby, you could always go DeVito, but he's got other guys around him too. How about Brady Bowman's line tonight? 9 catches, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns in their rout over Highland. And then Travis, as I told you, there will be kickers.
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about Worthington Kilbourne, and I'm going to apologize if I mispronounce this name, but Erkin Osiris, 45-yard game-winning field goal, 17-14 over Dublin Scioto. Huge win, an amazing way to walk it off on a field goal of 45 yards. I'm telling you, man, we're seeing some high school kids make some really insane kicks this season, and it's really encouraging.
I think it's that way at every level right now. We saw what just happened with the Dallas Cowboys and Brandon Aubrey kicking that 64-yarder to tie it and then coming in, and they get into field goal range by just crossing midfield, it seems like these days.
Yeah.
So
The
kickers, they're on a whole new playing surface than what we've ever seen before, where you look at some of the pictures from like the 1990 Super Bowl where Scott Norwood pushes it wide right, and it would have been his longest field goal that they said ever, a 48-yarder. That is a chip shot these days. High school kids, like you said, are making them now, Andy.
I know, it's nuts, but you're seeing like missed extra points and whatever Buffalo's kicker had before halftime yesterday. Prater, I mean, I don't know what that was.
What was that? Yeah.
That was, I don't know. We might have to have an investigation into that one. So yeah, it's just crazy. Field goals used to be very uncommon, I feel like, in high school football, and now we're starting to really see teams have kids with legs that can boot these from 40-plus yards, and it's really special.
Even better when they have 2 legs.
It helps.
Hey, I want your thoughts real quick, Jardy. You and I are going to be on the call of 2 5-0 WCAL teams next week. Are you already researching the fun tidbits about the Smithville Smithies?
Oh, we'll be diving into some research. Don't you worry. Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to next week. We're at a great part in the season. You're getting into the meat of conference play. Things are starting to heat up. You mentioned the playoff word already.
Playoffs?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I do have one final Andy Dandy that is a bit of a surprise for you. I wanted to keep this one a mystery, but we're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. This is going to be the most incredible comeback in the history of baseball. The Cleveland Guardians will be your AL Central champions, and they won again tonight. They're 2.5 back of Detroit. The collapse continues. This is fantastic.
I feel like the Tiger blood, it's thickening and getting darker and less pumping well by the moment, man. This come back to reality for them. It obviously, you've got to start feeling really tight now that you see that the Guardians are not just in your rear view, man. They're starting to pull up right next to you in the traffic, and they can wave and get your attention. So I really like this Dandy, and I kind of quit paying attention to the Guards about 3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, it's like just when I get out, they pull me back in, and they're playing for keeps again, Jardy.
I've never seen a more Jekyll and Hyde team than the one that they have this year. Remember Michael Scott in The Office? Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. That's how this season has gone. I've written them off 5 times. They've had multiple extended losing streaks. They've trailed by 15 games at least twice, or maybe it's 14 games twice or something. I mean, Detroit got shellacked by the Braves, the lowly Braves, tonight. Like, they are broken. And I just hope the Guardians don't run out of steam next week. That's all. I mean, they have a doubleheader tomorrow, and then you play again on Sunday, and then they're off Monday. But, man, that final homestand here with Detroit and then the Rangers, who might be eliminated by the time they come into town, it's unbelievable. I don't even care what happens if they make the playoffs. Like, just if you were to come back and eliminate Detroit from winning this division, that would make me so happy.
Things are getting good, and when you start bringing up that P word like you mentioned, now it's real here for the Guardians. So you don't feel like they're going to get the wild card spot. You're fully predicting AL Central champs, huh?
You got 3 with Detroit next week. I mean, they're coming to Cleveland, and if this is going to continue going the way it's going, I don't see why not. I think their eyes are on the division, and that's good. Don't just settle for that wild card. I think they're only a game and a half back of the final 2 wild card spots now. Just keep winning, baby, and the rest will take care of itself.
Just keep winning. Normally it's the Tiger blood that gets the winning going. Not right now, Mr. Jardy. All right, bro, we're about to shut this thing down. But before we do, for any of the kids out there, we do have sometimes a much younger audience and the high schoolers tuning in. Fill them in on some Weird Al. What's maybe the best album or some hits that if they haven't hit your eardrums, it's a necessity, man, over this weekend to get filled in.
Yeah, I mean, Running with Scissors is probably my favorite album of his. The Saga Begins, which just is Star Wars Episode 1, sang into the parody of American Pie. You cannot go wrong with that song. Yoda is fantastic, too, for all the Star Wars fans out there. I'm partial to his parody of American Idiot, Canadian Idiot. There's just go on a deep dive, watch the music videos. He's just the best, and I highly recommend both of his movies. UHF, cult classic, and then he had a biopic come out about him a few years ago where Daniel Radcliffe plays Weird Al, and it's just the best.
All right, so it sounds like just the whole collection. We'll just buy it all, we'll listen to it, we'll dive in, and we'll spy hard. But Andy, I feel like I've been running with scissors all day, so it's about time that I put on some soft gloves or something and just kind of go to bed here, man. But always fun partying with you on a Friday night, and I appreciate the optimism here with the Guardians. It seems like every time I try to talk to you about our local teams, whether it's Buckeyes, Browns, Guards, who have you, you don't normally have anything for me that makes me feel good about myself.
I mean, the Browns I'm never going to be optimistic about. I mean, if you're coming Sunday, I apologize. But, who knows? Maybe they win. Ohio State is going to be – they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I was wrong about the Texas game. I really was. But, yeah, the Browns are just – calf season starts soon.
And we'll just leave it there. Andy Jardy, everybody, with your annual Friday night party here on the Pigskin. And yes, I will be up tailgating at the Browns game. You can catch me in the Muni lot on Sunday afternoon. But for now, for the beginning of Saturday, we are signing out for week number 5 of the Pigskin, but we will be back here better than ever in week 6. See you there.